I welcome all of you to my today's session of automated trading, in which we will be continuing with our development of the algorithms using AC2, that is acceleration, decelerator, oscillator, along with the Bollinger band. And this is the part 3. This is your host Vaibhav, and together we will try to do further optimization. In today's session, we will add a further layer of the Bollinger Bands of 4 hourly time frame, and along with that, we will also try to see how we can optimize the entry points, and for that, we will experiment with the pending order using some calculations block where we will try to put the entry point closer to the middle band, that is the EMA line of the Bollinger Bands. I hope you are now well familiar with these parameters and the technicality of the acceleration, decelerator, oscillator, and you can do bit of Google search also if the need arises. This is the Bollinger Band, and this is also pretty simple indicator to work with. Before we get started, here is the standard disclaimer, and I would also like to remind that this is only a tutorial session, and whatever the algorithms we are developing here are for educational purpose only. And if you feel any particular setup is profitable or not, it's up to you. No claim is being made regarding the profitability, and of course, even if you want to use the algorithms on the live account, then also you should be doing extensive trial runs for many months and maybe even years to get a sufficient idea of the efficiency, and then sufficient time of the mock runs on demo account should also be done. So let's get started. uh, I would try to explain what we have done so far. So here, the algorithm which we have developed so far tries to go for a buy order if the last candle close is above this middle band of this Bollinger band, and if the momentum is just shifting from this bearish to bullishness. So here, somewhere close to this level of 1.100, our algorithm would have tried for a buy entry, and similarly for sell entry, the algorithm tries to look for sell trade when the last candle closes below the middle band and above this lower band, and the momentum is freshly shifting from bullish to bearish. So somewhere here, I feel the algorithm would have looked for a sell trade. So that has been the underlying assumption so far, and let's take a look on the our visual J forex build. So here is the instrument subscription, and then the position amount has been kept at 0. The Bollinger band defined at hourly time frame, standard deviation is 2, and then these are AC2 indicators. Shift 1 will check for the last period, and shift 2 periods back, and the time period is of 30 years, sorry, not 30 years, 30 minutes, and the get historical candle is of hourly time frame. So here we have done this is the buy setup. So the last candle close should be above middle band, and the candle close should be below the upper band, and the last tick price, that is just before the order gets executed, should also be above middle band. This has been put in to make sure that not much of an deviation is there from our desired entry level when the order gets executed. Similarly, last tick should be below upper band, and the trend should be freshly turning from bearish to bullish. So the negative value, which was in 0 just 2 periods back, is now back in positive territory in the last candle closing time. So our buy trade will execute. Okay, so far so good. Now we will do further optimization, and why I feel we need to do further optimization. So here I will try to explain. This last week was particularly good from our you can infer that from our yesterday's test run also, where we made significant amount of money, and the reason has been that the uptrend has been particularly strong, and there was this almost 200 300 pips move from the lower level. But this is not the case every week, and if we go back in time, so let's say this week starting from 17th of February. So here you can notice that this time on in the early hours of 17, you can see that candle close is happening above this middle band, and then for the time for 3 to 4 hours, the price action is taking place in the upper band of this Bollinger band, and then again it comes back, and then for couple of times the candle is indeed closing above the upper middle band, and also the momentum here on the AC2 indicator also tries to shift from bearish to bullish. So in such a scenarios, here you can note these further instances when similar thing is happening. So in such times, I think our algorithm will execute the trend, falsely thinking that the momentum is now shifting from bullish to bearish, but we don't have a larger time frame confirmation, and because of the increased volatility, we might suffer losses. And week prior to that was also pretty much trending. But let me show you some cases where the price action is not trending and rather it is kind of sideways. So here you can notice that the price action is rather sideways, sometimes up, sometimes down. So here, and these times will confuse our algorithm, and it will execute too many trades which might end up making losses, and our account might be drained out needlessly. So what we can do is we try to put in additional layer of the 4 hourly time frame, and let me show you. I think so there is a further trend on the back of the all this volatility, which will give us a better idea if the trend has changed on the larger time frame like 4 hourly. It will act as a backdrop for our algorithm to execute the trades on a lower time frame of hourly and half an hourly. So because of that, I feel that even if we simply go by this simple strategy that all we want is the last candle close, last 4 hourly candle close should be below the middle band and should be above the lower band, and here for a buy trade the last candle close should be above the middle band and should be below the upper band. So this is just similar to what we have done on the hourly time frame. Only thing that will change is that this time around we are adding this additional layer with 4 hourly time frame, so that will act as a further filtering, and only when the trend changes from bullish to bearish or say vice versa on the larger time frame of 4 hours, only then the trades in that direction will start to get executed. Otherwise the algorithms will simply ignore the signals generated on the lower time frame, and it will not act on it unless there is larger confirmation. And then we can also do one more optimization. So what we will do after we have added the 4 hourly time frame layer, see here you can notice that sometimes the candle close is kind of too far away from the middle band, and it's pretty close to the upper band. And suppose if we execute the trade right away somewhere close to here, then what is the value? The value is somewhere close to 1.089, and what happens after that? The price comes back pretty close to this middle band, which is there around 1.0874, and suppose if we are going for a stop loss of 15 pips, I am afraid it might get even executed, but nothing much changes, and again after some time the momentum continues to stay on the bullish side, and again the price starts to rise. To avoid similar kind of situation, what we can do, we will execute the market trades when the last candle close is pretty close to this middle band, and suppose there is significant deviation, say we can assume, I think 10 pips, 10 pips should be good enough. Suppose if the last candle close and last tick value is more than 10 pips above the middle band, then what we can do, we will simply subtract the 10 pips from the last tick value, and we will try to get it closer to the middle band, and then we will keep open that order for say 2 hours, and as and when the price will revert back to middle band, and if the momentum is good enough, then I think our algorithm will try to execute that pending order unless that order has expired. So we will put in the order validity as well. So that is one thing we will do in today's session along with the larger time frame. So let's get started, and we will add one more Bollinger band, and then we will need to do a couple of calculation expression to get the calculations done right. So first we will do the simple thing of adding the Bollinger bands. I think the Bollinger band should be here in MA. It's not in MA, so other, yes, it is here, Bollinger band BB. And just let's do this only for the time being, and we will try to get it closer to the prior Bollinger band, so we can do this clustering better, and it will be easier for us also to understand when we will be reviewing the algorithm later on. So let's put it here, and the default instrument is Euro USD. That's all right. We make the time frame of 4 hourly here, and shift, we are going to check the last 4 hourly candle close, so we will need to make the shift 1. Let's see here. So you can notice that we are looking for the last candle close, and because of that we will make it as shift 1. Shift 1 it is. The time period is 20, standard deviation is 2, MA type, we will keep the MA type as EMA, so it will move along with the recent candle close, recent price action. Let's join this flow. So now this is fully functional. So let's check again. 4 hours, shift 1, time period is 20, deviation is 2, and type is EMA, and these are values: upper band, middle band, and the lower band. Okay. Now we will put in 2 if blocks to make sure that requirements are being followed logical. Here 2 if blocks. One we will add on the buy side, one we will add on the sell side, and what we will need is the middle band, but I think we will also we can even do one thing. We can simply use this hourly candle close only. So though we are using this middle band of the Bollinger bands on 4 hourly time frame, we will continue to stick with using hourly candle close only. So the algorithm will check for last hourly candle close whether it is above or below the middle band of 4 hourly time frame, and I think that should also work fine. Instead of going for a 4 hourly candle, we will not need a fresh historical candle of 4 hours. We can just make do with this candle 17. So we will compare the candle 17's close with the middle and upper and lower bands of these new Bollinger Band 41. So we put in the middle band here and we compare it to the candle 17 candle close. So the candle close should be above middle band and the candle close should be below the middle band. And here we will not look for deviation either. We are not much concerned about whether the last candle close is happening above the upper band of this 4 hourly time frame. We have done that conditioning. We have added conditions on 1 hourly time frame, and I think that should serve us well. So we are not much bothered about the deviation from the middle band of 4 hourly time frame. So we simply add these two conditions. We will add it here. I think here it will look more aesthetic. We are today we are doing both this development together at the same time for buy and sell trade. Okay. So here the requirement, this is the sell side, and the requirement, last requirement, we will be cutting this flow. So the negative value should be less than 0. So we have joined this here, and now the flow will check additional condition whether the candle close is below the middle band. So suppose if it is below the middle band, then only sell trade will happen. This is the sell side, and if the positive value is greater than 0, that means we will join this here, and now the trade will happen only if the candle close is greater than the middle band. So we have done this initial condition. We will save the file, and since we started developing this algorithm on Feb 28, it is still saved as Feb 28, though now it is 3rd of March. So maybe once we start development in the new indicators, we will change the name. Till then it is the same. Now as I said, we can do further optimization, and here let me show you on 1 hourly time frame, and what we can do. So let me explain on the chart first. So suppose if the last candle close is far away kind of from this middle band and pretty close to the upper band, and here you can notice that it is still below the upper band, but the deviation is significant. So what we do in such cases, we just we subtract some pips from this level and we place the order lower, and we will provide it validity of 2 hours. So for next 2 hours only it will be valid, and if in that time frame if the price comes down and it is within our execution frame, then the order will execute it. So here you can notice that even if we deduct 2 pips as the price is closer to 1.0887, so the order will be placed at 1.0877, and the time that price is being touched in an hour later, and at that point in time our order will get executed. So we are going to get a better price as well, but sometimes the order won't be executed and the price will continue to rise higher, and in such scenarios we will be losing out on some profit. But since every week we don't see prices trending, so in times when there is too much of confusion in the market and the prices are not really trending, and the sideways consolidation is going on, as here is the case for last couple of hours, only sideways moves. In such scenarios we won't be losing much money, so that for that only we are going to do this optimization. So let's again go back to our Visual J Forex build, and we will need to do some calculations, and for that we will bring in the mathematical components, and this is the calculation expression. So first we will define 10 pips, and then we will compare the last candle close, the distance between last tick and the middle band, and if it is greater, then we will go for a pending open. And I think we don't have much time left still for next 5 to 10 minutes. Let's see what we can do. And we are going to create a new variable here, and let's name it the pip difference. So we will name it as PD, and the pip difference is going to be of 10 pips. So suppose if the candle close is higher or lower by 10 pips from the middle band, then the algorithm will look for a pending order instead of executing the trade right away. So that's why we are going to define it as PD. This is the first variable we have created, and we will bring it here, and then we do on candle. I think we can default variable. Let's see the default instrument, and we multiply the PD by the default instrument pip size, so the result will become 10 pips. Right now it is only numerical 10, so we multiply A1 by A2, and the result we get is going to be 10 pips. So we will now write it as ED, execution difference. So we are going to save it. Okay. And what else we will need? We will need to subtract the middle band from the last tick when the current price is higher than the middle band. And in such scenarios, before we go for buy trade, we will check the difference, and if it is greater than ED, then we will go for the pending order. So again we will need to bring in calculation block, and here we simply do, first we will build the buy side, and then we will build the sell side. So on tick, and let's see the tick bid, we will check for the tick bid here, and okay, I'm yet to expand it. Okay, now done. Tick bid, and we will subtract the middle band's value from the last tick bid, and the middle band is this is also bid side, so we can use it now. Middle band is going to be put in on A2, and we will do the subtraction. A1 minus A2, the last tick bid minus the middle band, and whatever the difference, we will name it as buy difference. I think yes, buy difference should be good enough as a name. So suppose We will compare this BD with ED. Suppose buy difference is greater than execution difference, then we will be placing a pending order, and for that we will need to do further calculations as well. We will add the flow, but before that we will need to bring in further calculation expression block to do the desired calculation for the buy side, and here we will again need to subtract the ED, that is execution difference, from the last tick bit, and that will be our BE, you can say execution by execution, we will name it. So here last tick bit, and we will do one thing, we will do this subtraction last tick bit minus 10 pips. So suppose if the last tick value is more than 10 pips away from the middle band, that is higher than the middle band by more than 10 pips, then we will subtract this 10 pips from the last tick price, and we will place a pending order, and we will name it as BE. Oh, and here A1 minus A2. So far so good. Let me connect these dots, and again we will need to bring in the order validity block as well. There we will need to do some further calculations, and this is how it's looking right now. And let us bring the pending open also, trading pending open, and we are going to place a buy limit order. So buy limit, here it is, and the price is going to be BE. Default instrument, trade amount we will put in at 100,000, that is 0.1 million. Slippage will be of 2 pips. Default stop loss will be of 15 pips as we have kept while market open, and the default take profit is going to be of 20 pips. And good till time, we will now do the calculation for determining the order validity. So again, let's bring in the calculation expression. Here we will create some variables, further variables. Last tick time will need so let's create a new variable. Before that, let's bring in the last tick time. So whatever be the tick time, we will add 2 into 36 lakh ticks. 1 hour there are 36 lakh ticks. So in 2 hours our order will be, for 2 hours our order will be valid. Create new variable. So let's name it as TT, ticks, and the value will be 36 lakhs. So it is 3.6 million, and let me count the zeros so that I'm right. Yes, 3.6 million it is. And we will need to create further variable to multiply it as 1 or 2. So suppose if we are multiplying by 2, then it will become 2 hours, or if we multiply it by half, then it will be for half an hour. So there is order validity time. Let's write it as OV. We will order validity 2, that is it. and we multiply tt by ov, and then we add it to last tick time. So here is the calculation: a1 plus a2 into a3. So what we have done, we have added 7.2 million ticks to the last tick time. That means that our order will be valid for next 7.2 million ticks. That is exactly 2 hours. And as a result of calculation, we will put in this good till time. We have to create this variable here. We will name it as order validity time OVT, and we will put in here. So this is the result. This is the result of this calculation. Will be our order validity, and now we need to join the multiple action block to the last block here. So it's done. I think we are running short on time. Today we will only be able to build a buy side, and then we will do test run sell side and the test run tomorrow. Before I sign off, let's try to add if blocks for next few conditions. I think what we have done so far, we have added 4-hourly EMA, and now we will need to make sure that the calculations we have done so far. So let me again take a look, and then we will bring in if blocks logical. So here is the if block. We might need 2 or 3 blocks. So this is the ED 10 pips and last tick bid minus the middle band and the execution difference. So here we are going to take this BD, that is by difference, when the last tick bid and the middle band difference is more than the ED execution difference, that is more than 10 pips, then our order will go for pending open. So let's compare this. The bid buy difference is more than the execution difference. So we bring in here. We will need to connect greater than the buy difference is greater than the execution difference. And when the buy difference is less than the execution difference, the order will remain for the market open. And now we have put in the BE here. Okay. So that's the only condition. Here we will need to add that the difference by difference is more than execution difference. Okay, now I'm sure. So let's go for adding this buy side to the development we have done so far. So this is the so far so good. Okay. Now, the candle close should be greater than the middle band. That's all right. So we connect it here. We drop that, and when the difference between last tick and the middle band is greater than 10 pips, so there is a buy difference and there is the execution difference 10 pips. Whenever it is greater, we will place the order 10 pips lower. This is the BE where we have defined that 10 pips should be subtracted from the last tick, and this order will be placed for 2 hours validity OVT. So that's it. And when that's not the case, when it is below 10 pips, then the order will be executed as per the market open. So this is the difference in two situations. Different execution systems will be applied by our algorithm depending on the circumstances prevalent at that point in time. And that's it for today's trading session. So we have done most of the development. Now in tomorrow's session, we will do the test run, and then we will first at the sell side and then do the test run, and suppose if required, we will add some further optimizing conditions as well. So now grant me the leave. I will be back tomorrow. Thank you all for joining in. Have an excellent time ahead. Goodbye.